I also brought Virginia Woolf with me. She packed very well. And it's a bio by Alexandra Harris, and the publisher is Thames and Hudson. That's important because when you actually look inside the book, it's rather a joy. So when you look inside, not only is the book good, which you have to kind of accept from me, but there are photographs, there are paintings as well, because of course Virginia's sister Vanessa was a leading artist. You've got the covers of the books and pictures of them, pictures of places they visited or liked, and you can see every sort of third or fourth page you've got a photograph of someone in their circle or a picture of them themselves, and it just fills it out beautifully. It means you're not feeling stuck with just words. But the people themselves start to come more alive, and they are put in at the right time. So that it's brilliant, because in so many books what you get is just lots of text and then a giant wodge of photographs stuck in the middle, and you have to to and fro between the middle of the book and what you're reading to say, oh, that's a picture of the person that it refers to. But interspersed throughout the book, brilliant. Something simple, probably more expensive, but actually really, really good. Very, very readable. And one of the words I thought of for the book is actually the back, which is clarity. Miracle of clarity and concision. And although I haven't finished reading it yet, that is what I feel. It tells you the main stories of her life, the main things that influenced her, and it doesn't get tied up in academic complications. Now, the content of the book, 171 pages, so it's not too long, because consider it's covering her whole life and career. Then there's notes which are put in each chapter. You just get the number, and then at the back it says what it refers to, and which might be nice. Some people get deeply annoyed if there's deep notes at the bottom of each page. And then here's the joy: suggestions for further reading. And if you look at that, I think this is what makes it a particularly great book to start with looking at Virginia. Books of biography, books about her work, books about her family. Something I love is that there's a section Virginia Woolf on film, even though it's far too short. It's just got Orlando, Mrs. Dalloway and the R's. And then it's got excursions, so if you want to follow up the book and actually visit the places where she lived, it tells you a bit about the houses and how accessible they are they open to the public, etc. And there's your photo credits. And then a lovely index, generous, so you can look through, make sure all the things are there that particularly interest you, and look, it's 4 pages, 5 pages, 6 pages, so it's generous index as well. And here's a sentence that totally won me over. Critical studies of Woolf's work. Of all the hundreds of books in Woolf's work, here are 10 good places to start. Isn't that brilliant? 10 great books to give you places to start, rather than giving you all the pages of what the writer herself has read. It's like a starter kit for Virginia Woolf. I've been considering doing a long, slow read through Virginia Woolf and books by her and books about her, and this book makes me think, yeah, it's doable. Here's a marked out path. So I've read it so far. I'm only 2/3 of the way through. It is instantly readable. It's great, and it's yet got enough to intrigue me. She talks about the different questions that Virginia is thinking about during her books, what she's wrestling with, and there is a great deal of information about how she wrote, which I think is phenomenal. As a creative writing tutor, I'm vastly interested in that, and one of the first things that's clear is that she read phenomenally from the age of 5. She started writing about the same age as well, and wrote just kept on going. She had a private education. Her father gave her a book to read, a series of books on history and biography, which was his particular strength. And she would basically get a different volume each day. Enough, I've read that, on with the next. And at the same time, she also had lighter books for reading in odd moments, and she had even decided in certain books that she felt she could read while she was brushing her hair. And on top of all that, she wasn't allowed to read in bed at night, and she did. It's the old book snuck into the bedroom and hidden. So she read phenomenally for a very, very, very long time. And she wrote about her life, her early life as a passionate apprentice. And I think that's so encouraging for writers, is to know that she became good because she was doing that. She was also writing reviews, book reviews on other people's books, which she did in a really interesting and perceptive way. She wrote a wonderful line about Jane Austen, saying that when you read Jane Austen, it was the sound of a young girl laughing a couple of 100 years ago. And I think that's just brilliant, not to be too pretentious about it. She called her books where she gathered together her writings on books as the common reader, and she had that in mind. She didn't go to university herself. She was denied that opportunity because of being her gender, being a woman at the time, and it was just becoming possible. But her parents decided not, and she seemed to have that in mind, that the whole idea of academia and kind of university studies and so forth could become too academic, and so she wrote for the common reader, i.e. the person who's interested in reading a reader, but someone who's not wanting to get a big treatise and a big thesis written about something in fine detail. She was saying, what is this writer about? How are they doing the work of writing? And I love that. So I'm looking forward to reading more of her, well, reading her reviews on books directly. That's something, as a treat, I look forward to. So her writing day is interesting, and I'm going to think more about her writing, but she wrote her own journal. She started in 1917 and she kept going to the end of her life, apart from absences where she would have a recurrence of her mental illness. She couldn't write. And in those recordings, she was noting characters. She was saying, oh, I noticed this person. She wrote about it vividly. Sounds, places, people. She loved to go walking at night and nosy around the streets and see what was happening, and she very much had London as being her centre of observance, that she really knew and understood city life, and she missed it if she was gone for too long, although she welcomed the quiet of the countryside for getting space to write, which you can understand, sitting as I am in countryside. But her daily life in writing was, she would, according to this book, she would write from 10 a.m. in the morning to 1 p.m. Then she broke for lunch. Then she went for a walk where she thought about what she'd been writing that morning and paced it out. And in the afternoon, she would do some printing or reading manuscripts, because of course she was a publisher. She was the publisher of Hogarth Press with her husband Leonard, and so she was reading manuscripts of other people. And in fact, she was the publisher who was printing T.S. Eliot and other people who were really important in their day, and even I think Catherine Mansfield. And then in the evening she did the deep reading of history and literature, and this would fuel her brain for what she would write the next day. So totally immersed in books and writing, in words, both in writing herself, in publishing, printing other people's words, and literally setting the type letter by letter by letter by letter in total detail. And I imagine that if you are in the printing business, and I one time had the experience of a small printing press, operating it to just make up a few lines, just as a little workshop, and every letter counts. I think it's a great experience. You're never going to be wordy, over anything if you actually have to set every single letter into a word. You're not going to write overly. You're going to edit sharp and write only what words need to be there, because you're going to have to set them into text. Oh, just had a duck landed beautifully there. Sorry, you missed that when I'm yakking on about Virginia Woolf. It was unexpected. There's a wonderful review by the Daily Mail in the back, and it says, every page of Harris's book is pervaded by Woolf's passion for life, her sense of fun, and her immense capacity for joy. By the final page, Harris has made you desperate to tackle the novels. And that's true. So what a great starting place. And I think this book is brilliant for being a readable, quick, overall approach to Virginia Woolf. I recommend it highly at this point. I'll tell you more when I've finished.